Every day, millions of people go online to search for local businesses. Does your small business show up? When you create a website on WordPress.com, you make it easier for your customers to find you, to connect with you, to hear how you can help them. Your business needs an online home. It needs a WordPress.com website. You don't need experience setting up websites. WordPress guides you through the process from start to finish. They take care of the technical stuff, so it's easy to get your site up and running. Their customer support team is made up of WordPress experts eager to help you get the most from your site. They're available to help 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and weekends. Plans start at just $4 a month, and all WordPress plans include a custom domain name for the life of the plan. Come see why 28% of all websites run on WordPress. Get started today with 15% off any new plan purchase. Go to WordPress.com/Golic to create your website and find the plan that's right for you. That's WordPress.com/Golic for 15% off your brand new website. WordPress.com/Golic.
Great news. There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Monday, not just any Monday, but the Monday before the Super Bowl.
It's good and bad. Good and bad.
Yeah, because it means,
the last Sunday.
It's the last big hit we're going to get. But that means we get into the combine and free agency. You're not buying it.
No, I do to a point, but I'll miss games.
Oh, well, we will miss games. There's no question about that. Yeah, we will. So we'll soak it all in. We're going to celebrate the entire.
We're going to enjoy it all.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And again, we are headed to Minneapolis tomorrow. We will be there Wednesday through Friday of Super Bowl week. So come check us out at the Mall of America at the Hard Rock Cafe, right?
Yes.
So we're doubling down on eats because the actual food court is Radio Row.
Yes, it is.
Which, by the way, is the perfect confluence of habits and things that people want to do.
Sports talk show hosts and food
just
get together. You're going to see a lot of out of shape people there,
like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
So we'll be there, and we're going to dabble at the Hard Rock, and I'm sure you're going to wander over to the food court.
I'm going to wander in that mall, which is a monstrous mall.
You're going to graze.
I'm going to zip line. I'm going to be on the Ferris wheel. I'm going to graze all kind of food.
You're going to ice fish?
I'm going to ice fish as well. Yeah. I am ice fishing, yes.
Yeah, I'm all set to do the zip line with Stanzik and Junior. They told me they're doing it Friday.
I know. I noticed you have no interest in ice fishing with me.
No.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best, though. I want you to catch a lot of fish.
Okay.
And do the other things that people do when they ice fish.
Well, you fish.
There you go. Fishing is basically sitting. Well, it's somewhat a monster. Fishing. What fishing is great. It's basically drinking beer on a boat and going to the bathroom.
There you
outdoors.
go. Because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Always.
Yes.
I can always adjust that clock.
Yes, I can.
This hour of Golic and Wingo brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com and win at business. We've got the director of the excellent 30 for 30, the two bills coming up in just a few minutes, but let's get you caught up with what's trending. We'll start with Tiger Woods. Completes his first PGA tournament in over 2 years. The last one was the Wyndham Championships in 2015. He completed all 4 rounds, and he finished under par, Mike, 3 under, top 25 finish.
Well, and the amazing thing is what I took away from these 4 days is Tiger and I have something in common. Neither one of us knew where the hell our drive's going. Okay?
He had the two-way miss going Saturday and Sunday.
He struggled. Hit 17 fairways in all, his fewest in any PGA Tour event in which he completed all 4 rounds, but he putted really well. I got to believe he's for the first tournament, making the cut, going all 4 days, playing the way he did. He's got to be happy at moving forward with the progress. As far as the tournament, Jason Day and Alex Noren, they played 5. Ryan Palmer was with them on the first extra hole, the 3 of them. Palmer went out after the first hole. Those two played 4 more, 5 total, still tied. Darkness set in, so they'll finish up, I believe, 11 o'clock today. Where they will end this thing, hopefully, and move on. But for Tiger Woods, and I think the ratings will bear it out, when he's in it,
he's
or
a draw.
Playing in the weekend and still hanging around, people are going to watch.
I think everybody wants to see, can he come back and do something like we're seeing Roger Federer over the weekend,
right?
Win another championship. Do we think that Tiger has one more run in him? We don't know that. At the end of the day, he got through 4 rounds, was competitive, was under par, and is pain-free. And that's a win at this point.
And I
for
think
Tiger Woods.
his next tournament's 2 weeks into February, I believe, is the next one he's going to play in.
So he's going to take a lot of practice and have the ability to practice, which is the only way you can get better at that maddening game of golf. Did I mention Federer? Mm-hmm. He defeated Marin Cilic in the Australian Open final, his 20th Grand Slam. He's the fourth tennis player and the first male tennis player to win at least 20. The women players, Margaret Court, Serena, and Steffi Graf.
Margaret Court, 24. Serena, we'll see how she comes back from having her first child at 23. Steffi at 22. Roger at 20. And you think the way he's going, he's still got more in his pocket, especially with the foursome playing. Murray's got that hip he's dealing with. Djokovic lost in this tourney, so did Nadal, and Federer gets the win. So, I mean, and he's managing, and we had Pam Shriver on earlier and talking about one of the differences today is all the different coaches and people, not so much coaches, but the entourage that takes care of them. Plus, we saw Federer do it, last year as well, start to take breaks, pick his spots a little bit more. And something you have to do. You have to manage your game, manage your body at that age. And I'd say he's doing it pretty darn well.
Yeah, the second oldest guy ever to win a Grand Slam event in tennis. The oldest was Ken Roswell, who was 37 years old when he won the 1972 Australian Open. But again, Roger he went over 4 years without winning a slam. He's now won 3 of the last 5, which is just insane. He won Wimbledon and the Australian Open last year. And, of course, now he's got the Australian Open once again in 2018. We'll finish up what's trending with Ronda Rousey taking her career in a new direction. Former UFC champion is now part of the WWE.
Listen, she was everything, in the Ultimate Fighting. As big as Conor McGregor is, that was Ronda Rousey, not getting that payday that Conor got, obviously, with Mayweather. But Ronda was it. Was there a woman on the planet,
nope,
that could step in the ring and beat Ronda Rousey? And when Holly Holm did it, all of a sudden it was the Dolph Lundgren bleeding,
yeah. If he bleeds.
So, I mean, that's what it was. And she lost her last 2 fights. She's not getting back in the ring. And now, WWE, we know what that is, man. That's entertainment and personality. And certainly you have to be athletic to do it. And she fits the bill on all of them. So I got to believe she's going to step into there and do pretty darn well.
Well, look, she can be a showman, a show person, and she's a draw. There's no question about it. And she says this is not a snatch and grab. This is not a publicity stunt. This is my life now.
Yeah.
First priority on my timeline for the next several years. So we wish her all the best.
Absolutely right.
And see what happens with Ronda Rousey. What I can tell you is you will be well spent to watch something this Thursday, February 1st. It's the Two Bills. It's the next 30 for 30 segment on ESPN, a documentary about the relationship and how it became strained and how it came back together between Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick. I've seen it. I've seen it twice. It is absolutely fascinating, and we're delighted to have Ken Rodgers, the director of the Two Bills, join us now this morning in perfect timing as we get set for Super Bowl week. Ken, this is a fascinating documentary on so many levels. If you like football at all, you've always thought about the relationship between these two. I guess my question to you would be, how did you get them to both sit down and do it?
That's the question, right? The film is one thing, but just the fact that the film exists, that these two sat together, is the first question that everyone wants to know, because they're not known as the most friendliest guys to the media to do anything that they don't want to do. So really, it really goes back to Steve Sable, who you guys both knew well, and it's all about history. And both of these guys are not the type. Bill and Bill are not the type to really celebrate their place in history. They have a lot of humility in the moment. They don't want to talk about themselves, but they do very much recognize their place in history. You think about Coach Belichick, he never wants to talk about the current championship. He's thinking about the future, but he recognizes the past, and he understands all of history in the National Football League. And both of them have always had a very strong kinship with Steve Sable and NFL Films. And the more I've thought about it over the years, I've always thought that the Parcells guys and the type of players that Belichick tries to get on his team, they're the type of people that Steve Sable hired and we continue to try to bring into NFL Films, because both Steve Sable, Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells, they all saw a purity in their art form. For the Bills, it was coaching, and for Steve Sable, it was filmmaking. And the three of them hated the politics. They hated meetings. They didn't want to deal with media. What they wanted to do is just get their art form right and do it to the very best of their abilities and to inspire people around them. And so I think there's always been a kinship between the three of them, and that's lasted to this day. And the company, I think, still represents Steve Sable, even though he's gone. So the ask was fairly easy to get them to get together, really to make sure that future generations remember the bond that they had. And, 15 years is a long time in the NFL to work together. Two Hall of Famers like that, it doesn't happen. The closest you get, if you look at Hall of Fame coaches, is probably Paul Brown and Bill Walsh, who worked together for 8 years. And Parcells and Belichick worked together for 15.
Right.
And if you think anyone could work, together peacefully and coexist, you wouldn't pick Parcells and Belichick. But they made it work, and it's an amazing story.
Well, so you said easy to get them together. Now you have to sit down and talk with them. So, Trey and I interview athletes all the time, and you get to know some that you could ask one question, you can go get a cup of coffee with their answer, and others you got to be ready with a ton of questions. I can't imagine the amount of questions you had to be ready for with these guys just in case you got some of their, especially Belichick, short answers.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, and we're behind a curtain because the way we set it up is we put a camera at the edge of the table they were sitting at with my reflection in it. And so all they saw was my reflection in the camera, and all the crew and everything was behind a big sheet. So we were really isolated, and we could see them in monitors. And when they walked in, you could feel the electricity in the room. They had only been together in front of the camera one other time.
Wow.
In 1991, which is in the film and is an amazing, amazing old archive clip in 1991 when Coach Belichick was with the Browns. And, yeah, I'd be lying if my heart rate, if I said my heart rate wasn't, 180 or above. It was an unbelievable moment when they walked in, and I tell you, I thought at some point I would have to serve as mediator. I didn't know what their relationship was. Even though I knew they had found some sort of peace, I thought, I might have to get these guys on the same page or try to push them together in some way. And it turns out, as you can tell in the film, I was the outsider. They bonded a couple times against me and pushed me away and kind of busted on me and broke my stones about various things. And it was great to see because it showed where they're at now. They're very much at peace with their relationship. And anyone who asks about it, they're joined together in how they see each other, and they're not going to let anything come between them again.
Well, that was pretty clear as Ken Rodgers, the director of the Two Bills, joins us. It's our new 30 for 30. It comes out on February 1st at 9 o'clock, I believe, on ESPN. The two things that I took away, Ken, from watching this is one, Bill Belichick has certainly has not skipped chest day since early in his career. He's certainly got a lot bigger up top. And more importantly, he used to be much more interesting and sort of open to the media in some of his old press conferences in Cleveland or even when he was with the Giants as opposed to the way he handles things now.
Well, yeah, two things. One, I think today, if you ask him the right questions, and a lot of people have seen this, he'll go on forever about particular topics. People have written, if you ask him about left-footed punters, he'll talk forever. I can promise you, ask him about Paul Brown, and you better get a couple tapes ready because he'll continue forever and ever in a good way. But one of the biggest misnomers I was surprised by was the Jets' resignation, which is a big part of this film, this apocryphal story of Bill Belichick turning his back on the New York Jets. It's a dramatic moment. It was a dramatic moment in their relationship, but of course, historically, everyone remembers this as this, hugely negative moment for Coach Belichick. And you watch the tape of his resignation, given his current explanation of what he was thinking, and it actually makes a lot of sense. And how he explains what he was thinking at the time, it's all very clear, and it's all very understandable what he was going through. And I was shocked by that because I had heard these rumors that this press conference was just a train wreck, and he was a mess, and it actually was really understandable to see what he was going through, and I understood his decision to walk away from the Jets. Obviously, there's a whole other side, including Coach Parcells, who at the time didn't. But that's the way it is with family. And that my big takeaway from the film was this relationship, Parcells and Belichick. I think everyone can understand it because we all have family relationships that are very much like this. You cannot talk to a sibling or a parent or a cousin for years, and then you get back together, and the love was always there. But, family, sometimes you just don't talk. Close friends, yep. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have a misunderstanding where you're both right. You both have a reason to be upset. You both crossed the line and broke the bond. And then time goes by and you let it go. And that's what it was for these guys. They both had a reason to be upset in their own minds. Neither was the villain and neither was the victim. They had a misunderstanding. They had to take care of what they thought was best for each other. And then they came back together. And you couldn't have had that disagreement and the coming back together if there wasn't great love between Belichick and Parcells.
Talking to Ken Rodgers, director of the two Bills, coming out Thursday, February 1st. How was that for them to talk about? Was it cathartic at all? I mean, was it like a therapy session, or did they just move on from it, like you say?
No, that's exactly it. I'll tell you, when we started showing the footage to people inside NFL Films, particularly I remember the moment our in-house composer, Dave Robideau, we showed him some footage so he could start writing the score, the musical score to it. And he came to us a day after looking at it, and he said, you know what's amazing about this? They're working it out in the chairs.
Right.
They're figuring out their relationship as they're talking. And that really is what happened, because I think when they came back together in 2005, and this great story that's in the film on Nantucket, and got back together as, quote, friends, I don't think they ever talked about what they went through, the negative times. They just moved on. That's what they do, is what Coach Parcells, they're trained to move on to the next game, the next situation. So they moved on. They never really sat down and talked about what happened between them. This was that opportunity. And they kind of worked it out as they went. And we got deeper and deeper into that situation until my final question about, do they love each other? And have they told each other they loved each other? And I don't want to give it away, but just getting to that point, I don't think could have happened unless we spent the 3 hours we spent digging deeper and deeper and deeper into that relationship, starting with the great moments in the Giants, but going deeper and deeper until we got into the core of the relationship and asking about, do they love each other? And I had that as my last question on the sheet. You talk about all that list of questions
right,
I had.
Right.
I had, do you love each other?
Did you ask it and run?
And everyone I showed the list to, they said, well, you're not asking that. There's no way you're asking Belichick and Parcells, have you told each other you loved each other?
Well, he did. I've seen the show. He did. Again, I don't want to spoil the ending either for those that are waiting to see it. But that, Ken Rodgers, I thought was interesting. I also thought the way the film ended, without giving it away, the last thing the two of them said was maybe the most interesting thing of the entire documentary.
Yes, and I don't want to give it away either. But
this is a great tease, by the way. We're doing a really good job here.
I'll tell you what it comes down to, and I can give a little bit of it away, is that we asked them to do something that it's about the past. It's about the time with the Jets that didn't go well, and that they fight back against me. They refuse to go along with me, and it's one of those moments I spoke about where they were on the same page.
Oh yeah.
There was no me trying to cajole one of them to get the other one to go along. They were united, and I think it's symbolic and perfect that they refused to literally go back to the past. They were done. They refused my request and said, nope, we're leaving. And they called an end to the day. I didn't want the day to end. I wanted to keep shooting, but they
They had other plans.
They were done.
Yeah.
They said, we're moving on. And that's really where they're at right now. They're not going back to where they were from 99 to 05. They're not going to go back. They're not going to allow anyone to bring that back up and to push their way between them. And I thought it was a perfect way to end the film. And, it just meant that this chapter of that so many people wanted to hear about, the Jets chapter, is over for good. And I think the next chapter is just them continuing on as legends that they are.
Well, you're right. The way it ends is just perfect. It really is. Without getting into any more details, it's absolutely perfect. And then literally the film just ends. So it was really great. Ken, we appreciate you being on with us, the director of The Two Bills. Again, it comes on ESPN Thursday, February 1st. It is well worth your time. Thanks for spending part of your morning with us.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks for having me.
A little loyalty from Kendrick Lamar, another big winner of a Grammy.
Big. He put on a great performance as well. So great that they were taking breaks during it. They throw over to Dave Chappelle, who would joke around a little bit while they were kind of resetting everything so he could continue performing. It was really good.
Quite a production.
Really did a good job.
Quite a production.
Yeah.
He and Bruno Mars obviously came up big winners.
Yeah, they did.
But there's a couple other things that were big winners.
Yep.
On this past weekend. You want to tell your story about your guy?
So we had obviously the NBA All-Star Game coming up. There was news that the winning team now gets $100,000, losing team $25,000. The Pro Bowl just went on this weekend. Winning team $64,000, losing team $32,000. But the real winner is a rookie in the NHL. The NHL All-Star Weekend just concluded as well. Another enjoyable weekend because I love the skills competition there as well. I really do. But his name is Brock Besser, plays for the Vancouver Canucks. He's a rookie, the only rookie on either squad in this game. Here was his weekend, for the Rook. In the skills competition on Saturday, he won the shooting accuracy contest. So, shooting accuracy contest, he won $25,000.
All right, so that's $25K right in his back pocket.
All right. Okay. His team won the All-Star Game, so he earned $100,000 for that.
Okay, so let me be clear about one thing, which I love. The NHL All-Star guys get $100,000. I think the NFL contract is a bazillion times more.
Yep.
And the Pro Bowl guys only get $64,000.
Yes.
There's a power dynamic that's not right. But go ahead.
More guys on the roster.
I get it. But still.
I'm with you.
They have the money.
So 25
so
for
we got
winning
125 now.
Right, there you go.
Okay.
Then also, he was the MVP of the game.
Okay.
So
as
a rookie.
What do you get for that?
Congrats for that. Along with a shaking of the hand and a pat on the back. You get a brand new car.
Do you know what kind of car it was?
I do not know what kind of car it is.
Let's say it's at least 50 to 75,000.
Let's say.
Okay.
Let's say.
Okay.
And it also, being named the MVP, won a car and triggered a bonus in his contract where he gets an extra $212,500.
Wow.
What a weekend.
So that's a $400,000 weekend.
What a weekend for the Rook.
For Brock Besser on a rookie contract.
Are you kidding me? That is just awesome.
That's rock solid.
Good for him. He won, man. He won the weekend.
I think you're right. Yeah, he doesn't have a little megaphone on a little statue. Doesn't have a Grammy.
No, he doesn't.
Or gramophone, I guess, would be the more
in what he does, he won the weekend.
He absolutely did.
Good for him.
Here's why he really won. Because, as you said, he's on a rookie contract. He's making $925 a year. So he basically got almost half his yearly pay.
Yes, he did.
Just a little under.
He won an electric Honda.
Okay. Probably not
50,000.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know for a fact.
I can't look for a fact. Yeah. We're trying to figure out exactly what it was. But basically, he did really well.
Yeah, he did.
He did really well.
That's impressive. Good job, Brock. And again, one of just 3 players in the NHL with the first name of Brock.
Yeah. But, which leads us, by the way, I told you about this list.
You did.
The website is Inside Lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
And they come up with the all-name teams every year.
Right.
And actually, they have a first, second, and third team from last year. These names are just great. Shackelford Stanwyck, Kiewit Postal, Bear Ultimus, Ivy Stucker, Brickman House, Griffin Woodfin Levine, Sky Dupree, Coy Broderick, Braylon Sampson, and Fitzhugh Lee.
These are lacrosse names.
College lacrosse players. The third team, by the way, I think is the best. I don't know how. Viper Steel is on the third team.
Wait, that's someone's name? Come on.
Viper Steel.
Come on.
Grayson Terrain, Cougar Kirby.
Those got to be nicknames.
Declan Swartwood. Con Curry, Dallas Creamer.
There is no way on the one guy's birth certificate it says Viper Steel.
Well, we got to look up Bryant College then, because according to this website, Viper Steel is an actual player for Bryan College lacrosse. Briannon McNeely.
If that's the truth, then what an incredible name. And then I'd have to ask his parents what the hell's going on.
Grayson Terrain.
You named him Viper.
How about Joseph?
Oh, God.
That's a third team. By the way, here's the second team. Tate Beeson, Blaine Stotler, Robbie Betchley III, Brewster Warble.
Brewster Warble.
He plays for Brown, of course.
Okay.
Broderick Vitale, Holden Rosengrupp, Alistair Bervin, Rich Mix, and Stone Sims.
Oh, I like that.
We need to get Stone Sims. Can you imagine the Stone Viper Declan line? That would be a really good line.
That's really good.
Well, no. Stone, Viper, and Kirby.
There is no way I believe that guy's real name is Viper
It's
Steele.
awesome. And I have no room to talk about anyone's name. I want to be clear about that.
That's true.
I have no room to talk about anyone's name. And you know what we got to stop talking about as well?
What's that?
People bashing the Pro Bowl. They do it all the time. Look, is it the high-quality football you want? No.
It is not. There used to be a lot more hitting in this. If you watched it yesterday, you saw barely anybody getting tackled. Usually once a guy got held up, they had a quick whistle out there. Gets a little going at the end there when money's on the line. And all I say to people is when they rip it is, don't watch it. But you know why it's on every year over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Because people watch it.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, the ratings were up about 25% from a year ago. Up
about
about 25%.
It is
in a pouring rainstorm.
It is and I admit it is the least entertaining of the All-Star game.
Yes,
it definitely is.
And I think they've done a nice job the last couple of years trying to make it about the skills challenge.
Love
and all
the
that kind of stuff. It's great
in all the sports. In all of them, these skills challenges are better than the actual games.
Yeah,
themselves.
Yeah, we're trying to get the actual the numbers here, but look. Don't sit there and say, oh, this is terrible, I'm not watching. 25% of you more were watching this year than were the year before.
It's just like I say about when people say there's too many bowl games. Nobody's forcing you to watch them.
Correct.
If you don't watch them, don't watch them. But you know what? If kids go out there, these guys get to go play one more game. Some probably don't want to go play them, depending on where it is. I get that. But, my God, you complain about something, you have a complete option of whether you want to watch it or not.
And they're always interesting because you get sort of this different dynamic. And we saw this play out at the Senior Bowl, by the way, over the weekend. Shaquem Griffin, who had his left hand amputated at a very young age,
is playing for Central Florida.
Yeah. And his brother Shaquille Griffin, who was a rookie that's ended up starting for the Seahawks in the Legion of Boom. They're twin brothers, although one had to play an extra year. Right. I think he was redshirted. But anyway, he was being interviewed on the sidelines about whether or not he's going to get to go to the Combine. As he's being interviewed, his team was punting. And they had hey, you're supposed to be on punt team. So he's doing the middle of the interview. I think it was Alex Flanagan, who does a great job, by the way. And she's interviewing him. Suddenly like, hey, you need to get on the field.
He took off, huh?
And then he couldn't get on there on time. But that's the kind of fun you get, whether it's at the Pro Bowl or the Senior Bowl. You get sort of this behind-the-curtain thing about how things go.
It's much more, now the Pro Bowl, way more relaxed than the Senior Bowl.
Obviously.
These guys are auditioning. You know, the Pro Bowl is just, hey, congrats on the year that you had, even though you go through a number of players. I think they said this was a record as far as players that were named and then replaced and such. But that's my thought always. Don't watch it. You can complain about it, just don't watch it. But I do think the goal in that game is to try not to hit the ground.
Correct.
If you cannot hit the ground, that is a success. And then the last 2 minutes, or if you have a chance, because the AFC was down by 17 in this one, and they brought it back, and they actually scored on Delaney Walker's second touchdown. But the NFC definitely had enough time to move down in position for a field goal to get the win until Von Miller had the sack fumble.
Stab, strip sack, classic Von Miller.
Great stab.
Classic Von Miller all the way around. Yep. So again, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say,
but
man.
There's a quarter more of you that watched it this year than the year before. Yeah. So somehow the metric isn't matching up with
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
But more people watch it this year. All right, coming up, Giants head coach Pat Shurmur was on with us earlier, and he told us about what he said to Odell Beckham Jr. and what he would and wouldn't do second time around. You'll hear from Shurmur.
It was great to have Pat Shurmur on, the new coach of the New York Giants. Trey, you heard him there ask about the quarterback situation, but the guy any quarterback's going to throw to, Odell Beckham Jr., said he has spoken with him, but on a limited basis because they can't be talking now. They can't until April when things get going, so not any more than, hi, how are you?
Right.
But, there's going to be, and Pat Shurmur does have a job in front of him. With that locker room, and especially that defensive backfield, guys took turns getting suspended, of kind of setting it down how he wants it to roll there, and the players, buying in, and then, as he said, getting the right players to be able to police themselves.
Well, that's going to be his biggest challenge because, it's in college, you can go in there and you can be a rah-rah and guys will listen to you. But these are men now that are playing in the NFL. Some of them, have been there for a few years, and they'll believe you as long as it's working.
Right.
And again, we made the joke that if Pat Shurmur had won what he did in Cleveland the last 2 years, now they build a statue outside of him. He won 9 games in 2 years. Browns are currently 1 of their last 32.
Mm-hmm.
So perspective changes everything. But he needs to come in and win, I think. And once you winning, we say this all the time, especially in football, it's the ultimate deodorant.
Absolutely right.
And you can put up with a lot as long as you're winning. And you'll buy into something as long as you see results and as long as you believe that those results are coming. So I think Pat has an idea of what he wants to do, and I think he'd probably say the right things to the players, but it only works if you start winning.
It does, and quite honestly, when things aren't going well, in my opinion, that's when true character comes out.
Yep.
And you start to see what guys are about, what guys band together, what guys splinter off, and you certainly saw some guys splintering off in that locker room. So there's definitely some work to do off the field and amongst themselves before they even get on the field to learn their new systems.
You get a feeling this Giants team, there'll be a lot of different looks on the roster.
Yep, I would agree with that.
The last couple of
years.
agree
with that.
So the other thing that sort of gets batted around like a cat toy all the time is the Pro Bowl. And we get it. We don't. It's not the greatest level of football, but it is still a football game on TV.
If you want to bat it around for the fact that it doesn't really resemble a football game, that's fine, because it doesn't. I mean, rarely do the guys get tackled, and players start playing stronger and tougher toward the end of the game if the game's on the line to get more money for the win. We've known that. Even though the game, there was some serious hitting years ago, it has definitely gone away from that.
Right.
Quite honestly, I get it. I mean, the last thing in the world, man, I'll tell you what, playing when you didn't have the playoffs that you were going to play, when you knew your season was going to end, I mean, you didn't think about it on the field, but let me tell you, the thought was in the back of your head as you were getting ready for it is, my God, don't get hurt.
Right.
The last thing you want to do is not make the playoffs, not be in contention for anything in rehab in the offseason.
Your entire offseason.
Oh, my God, it is miserable. So to get hurt, in the Pro Bowl. So I get why these guys are doing that, even though guys in the past hit hard and all that. I understand it. I understand why you want to be careful there and not get hurt. But as I said, don't watch, man. But guess what?
People are watching. Yesterday's Pro Bowl averaged a 5.8 metered market ranking. That's up over a quarter, up 26% from last year's Pro Bowl on ESPN. And based on Nielsen's preliminary rankings, it's the highest rated Pro Bowl in 4 years. Since 2014, it did a 6.7. So you get it. You have all these Cavs Warriors, 4.5 rating. Wizards Celtics, 3.1 rating. Rocket Thunder, these are all Christmas Day ratings, 2.6. 76ers Knicks, 1.9. Wolves Lakers, 0.8. So these are the big NBA showcase games on Christmas Day. This is the Pro Bowl. Okay, it's the Pro Bowl. And it's by far more people tuning in than all of those big NBA games. Yeah. So and the NBA is popular as hell right now. The ratings are going up. Ratings are going up in the NBA.
Again, don't know I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, turn on the Pro Bowl. You're going to see the best football in the world by the best players. You're not. You're not going to. But there's something that's drawing people to tune into it.
There's a disconnect between what people say and what actually happens.
Yeah.
And we're not telling you what to do either.
No.
We're just pointing out the numbers. Okay. The numbers are what the numbers are. But we do have to do one thing, though. I think we got to get this. If the NHL can find a way to pay each one of their players $100,000 for the win, I think we need to up the ante for the Pro Bowl. $64,000 for the winner, $32,000 for the loser. You like going all in, chips on the table.
How about add that together and then just give that to the winner?
Yeah.
Because you had that money to give out anyway, so just give it out to the winner.
So basically, it's a trip either for free or a trip for what, $96,000.
Yeah,
right.
You get that, or
I just did quick math,
or you're paying for everybody else, and I wonder if that would change people wanting to bring family.
Yeah, well, it changes in the fourth quarter.
Well, it definitely does. But you're at least getting something. You know, when you step on that field or make that trip, you're getting at least $32,000. What does it do if you think you're getting nothing? Like the NBA just went up now; they're going up to $100,000 for the winner. The
$25,000.
Loser stays the same at $25,000. So that's a big discrepancy there. But what if you made it winner take all?
Well, Golic and Wingo are presented by Progressive Insurance, and that would be a very progressive move if they did that. All our phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. By the way, tomorrow we'll have Al Michaels, who will be calling Super Bowl 52. I believe it's his 4,000th Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Talking about an amazing career. To me, I'll always remember him for the 1980 hockey team.
Seriously.
Do you believe in miracles?
The dude
yes.
has just called everything.
Everything. He's done it, and he continues to do it
fantastic.
At a very high level. I think you should get something for playing in the Pro Bowl, but I'd certainly like to see...
You're getting free room.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's.
You want more than that?
I think I want more than room. It's like I want room and board and books.
But we're trying to make it more. Don't you think that would make it more competitive?
I think if the discrepancy was larger between the two, but you don't want to feel like people are losing money when they bring their families to the Pro Bowl. Like, hey, come to the Pro Bowl.
Not like many people are going to feel sorry for them with the money they're making anyway.
And it'll cost you $24,000.
But I should say, why? I guess why should they change it? As we just said, the ratings are up.
That's fair.
Okay, keep
fair.
going. Enjoy it.
Well, you've just completely undercut my argument. I really have no response.
I was one who said all or nothing. I've undercut my own. Why change it?
Yeah,
keep it going the way it is.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Everything's great. Status quo. It's all good.
All good.
All right, Super Bowl week is here, and again, tomorrow's our last day here in Bristol. Then we'll be packing up and heading out to the Mall of America, Hard Rock Cafe for Super Bowl week. And Al Michaels will join us tomorrow on Golic and Wingo. See ya. Beer.
Attention shoppers, clean up on aisle 14. Clean up on aisle 14. Someone dropped a jar of pickles. Kosher pickles.
Beatboxing at a big box store. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
A red minivan has the lights on in the parking lot.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Geico.